Hello everybody. Right, regular viewers to the channel will know that recently someone asked me a question. They said, how have the ULEZ, LEZ and CAS charges affected the running of the lorries? And I answered the question, but it kind of got me thinking. And it's something that's been bubbling away at my mind for a little while now about how I think they're actually very unfair. I don't think they're set up for the environment. I think they're set up just to make the local council or city money. I also think they're set up to promote the sale of new vehicles which are unnecessary. They're not based on emissions, the actual emissions that come out of your vehicle. They're based on the age. So an older vehicle that puts out lower emissions is still has to be, still charged, or should be, they're encouraging you to scrap it. And so I've started a campaign. So I wrote to my MP and I have started a petition on change.org. So before we go on, if you know about this and you don't want to listen to all the blurb, if you go to my website, which I will do a link to you now, it's petercoath.com. At the top, there's a bit that says sign the petition. Alternatively, if you go underneath, I will put a link in the notes. Click on the link, that will take you to the petition. Because if you go to change.org and you type in the name of the petition, they're very difficult to find because they're everywhere. But like I say, if you go to the website or you follow the link below, click on it. It will also ask you to share it. Share it on Facebook, share it on a tweet, share it with mates. So if you've got a friend who's not necessarily a courier, but who's affected by this, I've got friends that are market traders that are struggling at the moment and they're having to get rid of their vans, or they're going to have to suddenly pay an extra 15 quid a day just to go to work. They can't do anything else. They're not like me, they're not young men, they're not particularly trained, and then suddenly another tax, another hit, another tax. So have you got a mate who's a carpenter or a brickie or a chippy or a scaffolder who's got a bread van or a milk van and they've got the needle about this, please tell them so they can tell their mates. I'm not saying we're going to stop it, but if we make enough noise, there's other petitions out there which are similar, and if we make enough noise, then they might think, oh, maybe we won't go with that. Oh, maybe if we go with this, we might not be that popular, or we might lose the next election, in which case maybe we'll swerve that one. But, so just to let you know what I've done so far, this is the letter to the MP. So I wrote a letter to the MP. This is what I wrote. My MP is Andrew Sellis. I said, Dear Andrew, I wonder if you can help me. Always a good start. I am writing to you because I don't know who else to contact. I am sure you're a busy man, so I shall keep this succinct. Through a process too boring to mention, I built up a 7k subscriber YouTube channel that represents sole trader courier drivers. I thought if I mentioned the fact that there's a few people out there that are listening to me already, it might draw his attention. A big issue now arising is that my fellow viewers is the increase in emission zone. At first it was London, but now we have Birmingham, Bath, Bristol, Portsmouth, and there are many more planned, including one for Manchester, which basically covers the whole of the northeast. I've got a needle about that. I'm a fan of things green and sustainability, but I question whether these zones are really a green measure or just a way of taxing poorer people under the guise of ecology. I have looked into the matter extensively. Actually, I haven't. You guys have, particularly Godzilla's, and a big thank you to all the things that you've told me about the zone and things that draws my attention, because I wasn't sure whether I was right about this. But the more I look into it, the more I think this is highly dubious. On the face of it, they appear to be green, but in fact they are not. Without wishing to bombard you with statistics, they push the emissions out of the city centres to the surrounding areas where the people actually live. Furthermore, they are based on vehicle age rather than vehicle emissions, which means that older vehicles which may emit less harmful gases than a newer one are unnecessarily scrapped, a process which itself is ungreen. As Godzilla's pointed out, it's 40 tonne of carbon to create a new van. If you had an older van which you carried on running, which was a Euro 5, you'd have to run it for 208 years to build up that emission. So it's not about the emissions, it's about pushing newer vehicles and just a way of nicking money off us in the form of taxation. My mate David Winter, poor people's tax under the name of ecology. Dave, if you're watching and you've got cab driver mates, please let's get them on board as well, There are many factors built into this, but suffice to say the whole system is extremely questionable. The problem is that no one is doing anything about it, and I've decided to take on the task. I will continue through my channel and change.org, done that bit now, to tackle the issue, but I could really use someone with sway to support me. I'm happy to explain further, talk to you or meet you should you be able to help. Thank you for listening, Pete. And I got a reply. Fair play to him. I got a reply within a day. You've got to say that's good. Dear Peter, thank you for your email. Although these decisions have been devolved to local authorities, I have today written to the Department of Transport on your behalf. I shall, of course, contact you as soon as I receive the reply. Very best wishes, Andrew Sellis. Well, I've got to say that's fair. You know, what else could the guy do? To be honest with you, we haven't even got an emission zone in Dunstable, so I'm asking him to do something about something which isn't even his constituency. Got back to me within a day. So I shall recontact him and say thank you very much and tell him that this video is, when it's gone out, and I'll tell him that it's gone live. Hopefully we could get someone on our side. Someone who could stand up in the Commons and say, right, hold on a second. There's a guy in my constituency that's got a few people behind him that are going, what's going on here? You know, we're all facing a cost of living crisis. We're facing increased mortgages. We all know there's going to be a lockdown and a 2-year recession. And on top of which, when you're a struggling small business, you don't need these extra fines, these extra bills on the top. Again, if you want to charge me, charge me. But don't pretend it's about the environment. Not when you're actually sending the vans out of the centres where the offices and the hotels and the shopping centres are, to the surrounding areas where the schools and the people actually live. They're the people that are getting gassed. And now, because you've got to go the long way round rather than the short way to avoid it, you're doing double the journey. You're pumping up double the gas. It's absolute nonsense. Don't even get me started on lithium farming. So, like I say, it's very difficult to find a petition on change.org, but if you go to the website, petercoath.com, or you go follow the link below, click on, please, and if you click, tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell anybody that might be affected by this issue, because if I can go to the guy, to the MP and go, right, I've got this many people behind me, what you going to do about it? The louder we shout, the more he might listen, you know. So, well, thanks for listening. I don't wish to harp on about this, but I think it's important because it's affecting a lot of us. So, if you can support me, much appreciated. And help us all to take care and take money.